Good evening, everyone. Mayor Buckley here. Wanted to give you an update on what's going on with the city. Tuesday evening, about 7 p.m., we're here at City Hall in the mayor's office. Tim's with me again tonight. And I want to give you an update on what's going on in the city and some of the plans that we are making to work our way through this. And then at the end of the presentation, I'll talk about the fireworks decision that was made earlier today. But I want to start out tonight with some announcements. And I keep going back to when I was in high school, how much fun it was when I was a senior, and watching through the years, watching these kids graduate. And this is a year where that's really not going to happen. It doesn't matter if someone's graduating from preschool, kindergarten, 8th grade, or high school or college. It's a little different this year, and these kids are getting robbed of something that they will take with them the rest of their lives. So the city wants to do something with us, so we have a couple things planned. I'm really excited about the school district, what they want to do to honor these kids, and what they've already done to honor the graduates, senior class of this year. So that's coming up towards the end of May, and I really think the school's come up with a good idea on how to honor our seniors this year. And then the city's going to do some work as far as honoring the seniors and honoring the 8th grade class at Holy Name. So look forward to that. That'll be some fun stuff. You're going to see a flagpole be put up in the front yard of City Hall. The current flagpole is failing, so we've decided to take that down and put a new one up. It's going to be up in the flower area where the ramps are. That will happen sometime within the next couple of weeks, and then we'll get that lit up properly, and I think it will be a nice improvement. I'm not sure how old that flagpole is that we currently use, but the braces are failing, so I think it's time to replace it. So we're going to be doing that. That's paid for with donated funds. There's no tax dollar used for that. If you were out on the east side of the city in the industrial park today, you'll figure out real quick that the roundabout road construction has started, and all the roads out there are closed, and what a mess. But I think over the next couple of days, the people coming to and from work will figure out an alternative route and get it figured out and get it put together, and it will smooth way down. But that road is under construction, and it will be so for about the next 90 days. But it will be a great improvement when it's done, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. Our paving agreement will be approved next Monday at the Board of Works meeting. We haven't released the schedule of paving yet, but I can go ahead and tell you really quick that if you live on Dangerfield Drive, if you live on Rodney Court, if you live on Roderick Court, if you live on Fletcher Lane between 6th Street and 9th Street, if you live on 8th Avenue between Byland and Fletcher Lane, and if you live on Grovewood Drive between Edwards and Jerry Drive, all of those areas will be redone. It's an extensive project, and we are looking forward to them getting started, but I don't suspect it will be, they'll start on it until sometime late May or early June. Not really sure, but the target date for completion is around the end of July. So we'll just have to see how the weather holds and the availability of the contractor. So that's good news. Eagle Valley is getting ready to start a drainage project. If you live up in the area of 7th and Buffalo, you'll see all the stakes out and all the utility markings. That project starts sometime in May, and that area has flooded really bad for as long as I can remember, and we're going to try to correct that. So we're looking forward to that project as well. And if you travel up on Albany, there at 16th, across the street from Holy Name Church, you'll see a little bit of construction activity. That is the trailhead for the Greenway located on the old St. Francis Hospital property. That is underway, and we look forward to that being completed. That's about another 2 or 3 week project. So we'll see what it looks like when it gets done, but I think you'll be very pleased with it. Every year we issue vendor permits and master vendor permits for businesses that have vending machines and pool tables, and I'm not sure what else that fits in that criteria, bowling alleys. The fees that we collect is not that much, but with the advent of what's going on right now, and none of these businesses are open, so they're not making any revenue. Jim, our clerk treasurer, felt it was unfair that we charge these people a fee for machines and bowling alleys that they can't even use. So the fees for this year have been waived. The permits were issued to these businesses over the last week, and then we'll pick that up again in 2021. But I think it was a nice gesture on the part of the clerk. The clerk is the one who controls the permit process. So I agree with Jim. I think it was a very good idea. So I wanted to pass that on to you. May the 7th, the first Thursday in May, at noon on the steps of City Hall, is the National Day of Prayer. So we invite all of you to come to this service. It lasts about 15 minutes maybe, and say a prayer for whatever is in your heart. Certainly what we're dealing with right now, we certainly need prayers. So we welcome you to come. The Mayor's Faith-Based Roundtable is the group that will lead that service. So street sweeping continues. Shredding, we have another shredding event on Saturday, June the 6th from 9 to noon behind City Hall. So please mark your calendar. I'll be right back. I want to talk to you about some of the things that we are doing as a city government to continue to prepare for this COVID pandemic, and then what we're doing in the foreseeable future to serve you. So we'll be right back. We're back, and I wanted to talk to you about what we are doing as a government to continue to serve you and to protect the employees of the city. We are developing a program called Living with COVID. And the reason why we titled it that is because even if the governor lifts the restrictions on businesses, both essential and non-essential, and we try to go back to some sort of normalcy, whatever that is, the coronavirus is still going to be present, and it's not going to go away in the near future. It will be with us this fall and through the winter. But what are we doing as a city, and what are we doing for the next 2 to 3 weeks to continue to move forward? This Friday, the governor is going to make some revisions to his executive order concerning essential and non-essential business. And he may very well start the process of opening up business. Not sure. I have interaction with the governor's office, but that one topic is not really discussed. My interaction is from information from the State Board of Health. But what are we doing? Our senior center is still closed, and it's going to remain closed through at least May 15th. In all likelihood, the senior center is going to be the last municipal building that is open to the public. It was one of the first that was closed. We feel that we're going to leave it closed until at the very end, and that is due to the age group of the people who enter and do business in that school, in that buildings. Horner Park Community Center is still closed, and it too will be closed through May 15th. Those two buildings, the Senior Center and Horner Park, we're going to sit down with the directors of both buildings, and we're going to come up with a plan on how to screen people who want to come into the building. So we have a ways to go on getting those buildings up and running. But we are not going to be in a hurry. We are going to take small steps and take our time. City Hall is still closed to the public, and it will remain closed to the public through at least May 15th. The staff reports every day, and then on Fridays, the building is closed and the staff will not report. This has turned out to be a good program for the employees of City Hall, especially the gals that work over on the clerk side. We're over here on the mayor's side, we're kind of isolated, but over there it has worked out very well. The fire department continues to run on a modified schedule. One day, one station will be out of service, and then it switches every other day. The police still continue to work off of a modified schedule. The parks system is still open. The playground equipment is closed. The basketball goals at Sarah T. Bolton Park are closed. But in talking with the Parks Director today, the dog park is still open. I wasn't sure what the status of that park was, but the dog park is still open. And the park is open to walk through, ride your bike, jog, drive through. I drive through it all the time. There are some questions about activity at Hartman Field, home of Beech Grove Little League. The opening day is sometime in May. I'm not sure if it's May 11th or when it is. I read about it on the computer. I think the Beech Grove Little League should sit down with the Parks Director and the Parks Board with their plan. If they haven't already, I make it a point to stay out of that because I'm a believer that the Parks Board oversees the park system, and along with the Parks Director, and those are the people who should be making the decision. I'm all for Little League Baseball, and there's nothing better than a Little League Baseball game. But I think there should be communication between the Little League and the Parks Director and the Parks Board, and let the Parks Board take it up and take it under advisement and then make a decision. that would be in the best interest of all involved. So I know that came up last week, and I'm not sure where it's at now. I'm out of that loop, and I really prefer to stay out of that loop. Department of Public Works is closed on Mondays. We don't generally pick up trash on Mondays. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, they are open for trash pickup, and they will also pick up heavy trash, brush. We will continue to do recycling. We will continue to do street sweeping, although that is an outside vendor. The guys out of DPW will continue to gravel alleys, and then obviously we will continue to conduct shredding activities. All of those things that you are accustomed to, we will continue to do. They may be just a little bit slow at getting into your neighborhood, especially with brush, but they'll get to it. Just be patient with them. But the main thing is the trash pickup. We want to make sure we continue the trash pickup, but we also want to protect the employees out at DPW. You can call 803-9098 and leave a message for a desired service. They'll check the machine, or you can contact us at the mayor's call center with your concern or complaint or request, and that will be forwarded out to DPW. The compliance department and fire prevention departments, those two divisions have been closed since the middle of March. I don't foresee bringing those two divisions back until at least May the 15th, but maybe even June the 1st. Depends on how we are doing as a city, plus how we are doing financially. So we want to take a look at that. We want to bring them back because they provide a valuable service, but we also have to be careful. So those are some of the things that we're working on. And when we talk about living with COVID, we have to talk about our employees. We have to talk about protecting our employees. And let me give you a couple examples. Flu shots, hepatitis vaccinations, wellness visits. We have already ordered non-touch thermometers. We're going to take another look at our sick day policy. We're going to continue to talk about social distancing. And we're going to talk about daily and weekly and quarterly cleaning that needs to take place in our municipal buildings. We're going to talk about restocking supplies that we've used so far. We're going to talk about, we need to talk about our HVA systems in every building and filter replacement. And we also want to prepare. All of this is geared up to get us, believe it or not, to next spring. And that's where we want to be. We want to get ourselves in a position to make it through the summer and through the fall and get to next spring. And then we will be in really good shape, especially if we have a healthy workforce. So those are some of the things that I wanted to talk about. This is some of the things that we think about and brainstorm about to prepare ourselves so we can better serve you. So I'll be back with a final section on the decision today to cancel the fireworks. So I'll be back in a minute. Thank you. I'm back for the final section tonight, and some of you may already know that earlier today I made a decision that I would recommend to our Board of Public Works and Safety that we not issue a permit for the July 3rd fireworks. And I would recommend to the board that we not issue any type of approval for a rain date for this year. We will just move on to 2021. I really didn't care for that decision, and I wanted to move forward with shooting the fireworks off for the simple fact of giving families and people something to do. But this story began about 2 months ago. The Beech Grove Promoters Club, a couple of their members came to me and asked for some assistance in paying for the fireworks. And they were running short on funds. And to pay for the fireworks, it's about a $9,500 investment. And I thought that, you know what, I'll talk to the clerk, and why don't the city pay for it? Because July 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, is on a Friday. We can tie it into First Friday and give the business owners on Main Street a boost. I could envision First Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. on Friday, and then fireworks at 9, and it would be a really, really good deal for the people who do business in the city. So I was content with paying for the fireworks, and we weren't going to meet again. We had had a couple meetings, and it was with a couple members of the Promoters Club, plus Renee Harlow, our chamber director. She was involved in the last meeting. And we were going to meet again the first part of May to plan on this some more. So we were moving forward with this. And then this Covid-19 came up. And the governor issued an order for businesses and non-essential businesses to close. And it more or less brought everything to a halt. And we were dealing with a silent enemy that nobody really knew anything about, except that it was causing thousands of people to be sick and countless people to pass away. The state of Indiana was not doing any testing. There is no vaccine available to cure this disease as of right now. So we are still in the process of beginning to test people. The governor announced today that they're going to open up between 20 to 50 sites at armories throughout Indiana to where you and I can go get tested. And over the next 30 days, they hope to test over 150,000 people. That's a very good start. But according to the news media, the state of Indiana is way behind on their testing as compared to neighboring states, and that's troubling. And they attribute that to the fact that we don't have mega labs to run results and do tests. So I'm listening to these epidemiologists talk, and Dr. Box and Dr. Birx, Dr. Fauci, and specialists like that. And they're talking about the wave, the surge that we are experiencing now. We just went through that here in the city. We took some precautions last week, and we hope that in 2 weeks from now that will pay off for us. We'll see. But what I want to pass on to you tonight is that over 1 million people in this country have tested positive for this virus, and over 54,000 people have died in the last 2 months from this virus. They estimate that within the next 2 to 3 months, an additional 58,000 people or more will die from this virus. They are pushing social distancing. In the state of Indiana, we have now surpassed over 16,500 people who have been diagnosed with the COVID virus. And as of today, 901 Hoosiers have died as a result of this virus. Just today, the State Board of Health released that there has been 650 additional diagnoses of this virus. And today alone, in the state of Indiana, 57 people died of this virus. And they are pushing to wash your hands. If you cough or sneeze, cough in your arm. Don't touch your face, and to stay at least 6 feet away from your neighbor. Now they're saying, to go further with that we may have to conduct social distancing through August of this month. I don't want to do it. I want to get back to how we were. I want to get back to having these businesses open here on Main Street so we can go back to how it was 4 months ago. But I'm not sure in the near future it's going to be like that. So you hear the specialists talk about these numbers and these procedures, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. On July the 3rd, if we have fireworks, there'll be over 10,000 people in the city park. And there'll be over 35,000 people in the city of Beech Grove who come in to watch the fireworks. How in the world could we ever do social distancing with crowds like that? So I spent some time with the police chief this morning. I spent some time with the fire chief this morning, and I said, I want to talk to you about this fireworks, on whether we should proceed with it or not. I want to hear what you have to say. I've already heard from the epidemiologists, I've already heard from the specialists, and they're saying that these numbers are, right now as we speak, are continue to go up. Hopefully soon they'll subside, but they're not. So they both made a recommendation, and I certainly agreed with it, that we'd call it a day this year with fireworks. Not a very happy decision for some of the folks out here, but it is what it is. I don't want to take that risk, and I'm not going to. So that's the basis for the decision today. And I called the Promoters Club, I called the chamber and let Renee know at the chamber. I called Circle City Pyrotechnics, Donnie, and told him that this was a decision that I made, and I don't want to inconvenience anybody, and I like fireworks as well, but I just think this year we better take a step back and go slow and just sit this one out and take it up next year. So that's my report to you, and I may not be back until around May 15th, somewhere in that area, to give you another update. If the governor decides to open up business this Friday in a limited format, I wish everybody the best of luck. But I want you to know that from a city services perspective, municipal building perspective, I'm not ready to do that, and I want to go real slow and take the right steps to protect the people that work for this city, plus the people who come into our building. So I will be back in a week or so, and we'll touch base again. Thank you so much.